Hello students, in this video we will be learning the important concepts of the chapter differentiation. I assume you have already learnt it in your 11th standard. You have learnt what is a limit, what is continuity, what is differentiability, and you have also learnt certain basic basic formulas of differentiation. In this chapter, I will try to explain the concepts in most simplest possible way. So the focus of the class is to concentrate on those topics and concentrate on the questions and how to solve them, those questions that comes for your exam. Okay, so the basic focus is your exam. Okay, so please if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications so that whenever we post a live video, you will be notified about the video before itself. So as I told you earlier, I will try to make it as simple as possible for you to understand and practice the questions, important questions. And if you have any queries, if you have any doubts to ask, you can message in the chat box. If you are attending this live video, you can message in the chat box and I will be replying to you immediately. In case you are watching it later, then you can always mention your requirements in the comment section. So we will try to solve the types of questions that you want as soon as possible. And also, if you have not yet joined our WhatsApp group, I have mentioned the link for our WhatsApp group in the description. Click on the link and join the group so that you get the links of all these videos. You will also get study notes for your exam with all important questions from exam point of view, so that you will have chapter wise important points and chapter wise important questions. So your exam preparation will be easy. There are different types of differentiation, different categories. It is actually difficult to cover all the types in the single class. So I will try to cover as much as possible, and remaining topics we will cover in our next class. And you will also be getting many questions, practice questions in a WhatsApp group. So you can practice all those questions, and if you have any doubts, text to us. So those things and all will be addressed in our next class. Okay. So first thing is you already know what is differentiation. So differentiation is the rate at which a function changes. So I'll just give you a brief introduction. Let y equals to f of x is a continuous function in the interval a comma b. Only if it is a continuous function you will be able to differentiate it, which you have already learnt in the previous class. So if y is equal to f of x is a continuous function in the interval a comma b, then dy by dx is called as the derivative of the function with respect to x. Okay, with respect to x. Here always this x is called variable of differentiation, which is this variable, which is the variable that is used in the function. When I say function, it means it is y. Okay, so this is called as derivative of the function with respect to x. Process of finding this derivative is called as differentiation. So what is differentiation? It is the process of getting derivative. Okay, it is the process of finding this derivative that is mentioned earlier. So understand, the process is called differentiation. The end product or the final answer is called as the derivative. Now, what is this dy by dx? It is rate of change of y with respect to x. D by dx of y. So you can call it as d by dx of y. You can write it as dy by dx. You can write it as f dash of x. You can write it as d dash. Okay, there are various ways of denoting a derivative. All these are equally same. You can use any one of these ways to write a differentiation. To write the derivative. We will use mostly dy by dx. Now, what is the meaning of this dy by dx is, if you see y equals to f of x, when we have y equals to f of x here, so in a function y equals to f of x, example I will take y equals to 3x minus 5. Okay, here this x is called as the independent variable. Okay, x is called as the independent variable and y is called as the dependent variable. And it is dependent on x. So that is why we say y is a function of x, means y is dependent on x. Based on different values that you give to x, y will also get a different value. Now what is this dy by dx is, when x changes, definitely y will also change, isn't it? So you give some value for x, accordingly y will get some value, then you will increase the value of x by certain quantity and definitely y will also increase. So dy by dx is rate of change of y with respect to change of x, change in the value of x. So when x changes, how much does it affect y? So that is this measure dy by dx. So most of you might be thinking, where am I going to use this differentiation in my life, right? So there are many concepts wherein this differentiation is used. So if all of you would have played games, so when you play a game like some racing games and all that, so when you play a game, when you press that key which is supposed to, stop that bike, if you're playing a bike race, you press a key to stop the bike. Immediately the bike won't stop, right? Bike stops after few seconds or after a fraction of a second. That is because based on the speed of the bike, the minute when you apply the brake, it doesn't stop immediately. It will stop after a few seconds. So when will that, so when you're applying a brake, when will the speed become zero? Okay. And then you have this trajectories, like you have rocket launches and all that. So during rocket launches, if you have observed, none of the rockets are launched at straight 90 degrees. It will be slightly tilted. Based on the destination that it has to reach, you will have to calculate what should be the angle that needs to be tilted at the base so that it reaches a specific satellite or a particular planet or a particular satellite. Based on the distance and the angle of that from Earth, you will measure how much at how much angle the rocket has to be slightly tilted so that it will reach that particular satellite or moon. So to that extent, differentiation is applicable in your day-to-day games also, and in also the high level scientific research. And being, if you are a commerce student, if you are getting into commerce later also, you have all these sales and sales trajectories, wherein you will have to estimate how much sales will happen in the future based on the previous sales. So in all those things, to estimate certain future values also, you will be using differentiations. So you don't have to literally write the equations and solve, but the logic behind estimations is this differentiation. So this is the applications of differentiation, which is again a separate chapter which we will learn in the upcoming classes. So before learning any topic, first you have to understand why you are learning that topic and where it is useful. So that makes it more meaningful to learn any new topic. Okay, fine. So this is about what is a function, what is differentiation, what is the meaning of dy by dx, where it is used. Okay, now we will see how to differentiate. Now there are certain rules of differentiation which I assume you have already learnt in your 11th standard. The first one is sum rule or difference rule. In some reference books, they'll give sum rule as one of the rule and they'll give difference rule as another rule. So both are basically same. So I have combined it as a single rule, sum or difference rule. So if you have two functions, f of x and g of x, both are functions of x, then derivative of these two functions, sum of these two functions is same as derivative of f of x plus derivative of g of x. Similarly, if you have a difference, then here also you have to write a minus. So basically we will consider this f of x and g of x as u and v. So that is what you can see in your textbooks notes. So they would have given you, so derivative of sum of two functions is derivative of the first function plus derivative of the second function. This is another way of writing it. And if it is a difference, here also you have to write difference. So this is sum or difference rule. So next is product rule. Product rule is also called as Leibniz rule, Leibniz theorem or Leibniz rule. As per this, if you have two functions u and v, so let us assume this u is f of x and v is g of x, okay, to reduce the things that we write. So considering these two functions u and v, if you have a function which is product of u and v, then derivative of this is first function into derivative of second function plus second function into derivative of first function. This is product rule. Next we have quotient rule, also called as division rule. That is, if you have a fraction, then you will be using this rule. So if you again we consider two functions u and v, and if it is of the form u by v, then d by dx of a fraction or a quotient is, you have to write denominator square. Here we will write denominator into derivative of numerator minus numerator into derivative of denominator. This is called as quotient rule. You can also write it as, remember it this way, this is numerator, this is denominator. Don't forget to write denominator square. Here you have to write denominator into derivative of numerator minus numerator into derivative of denominator. Okay, these are the basic rules of differentiation, and based on these rules we will solve certain questions that have been asked in the previous years. And once you understand this, next we can solve the chain rule of differentiation. Now for this we have certain basic formulas. I assume again all of you have your textbooks or notes which contains basic formulas of differentiation. In case you don't have, then you can refer our Instagram profile. We have posted all the trigonometric all the differentiation formulas, basic formulas we have posted in our Instagram profile, or in your notes also, in your WhatsApp group also you will be receiving notes in which you have the differentiation formulas. So let us see how to use this in a question. Okay, in a question how to solve. So let us assume y is equal to 3x square plus 5x minus 10. Okay, and we have to find dy by dx. If you observe, we don't have any products here and we don't have numerator and denominator also. All you have to use is your first rule, sum and difference rule. So what is dy by dx here? It is derivative of 3x square plus derivative of 5x minus derivative of 10. Wherever plus and minus is there, we are supposed to write the same thing. So 3x square, 5x and 10 we have to differentiate. Now for this one we will use the formula if you have k into x square. Okay, so I will write the function here and I will write the derivative here. Okay, if you have x power n, then the derivative of that is n into x power n minus 1, and if you have k into x, the derivative is k. If you have k into f of x, then the derivative is k into f dash of x. So basically here 3 into x square we have. If you have this type wherein you have a coefficient and x raised to some power, then multiply this coefficient with the power. Okay, understand clearly? If you have x power 4, then derivative of this is, write the power as it is, x power, write 1 less, n into x power n minus 1, 4 into x power 4 minus 1. Okay. If you have x power 10, it's going to be 10 into x power 9. Hope this is clear now. If you have a coefficient, say something like this, 5 into x power 10, then your answer will be 5 into 10 into x power 9, which you can write it directly. If you have a coefficient, multiply this coefficient with the power. 5 into 10 is 50. Then for x, write one number less as power. Okay. So using this result, here differentiation of 3x square. 3 into 2 is 6. X power 1 less plus derivative of 5 into x is k. Derivative of k into x is k. So derivative of 5 into x is 5 minus derivative of a constant is 0. If you don't have x term at all, then derivative is 0. Means what? Since it doesn't have any x term, change in x does not affect the function at all, because there is no x itself here, right? So derivative of 10 is 0. So the answer is 6x plus 5. Hope this is clear. I will show you one more example quickly. Y equals to, I will write 4x cube plus 9x square plus 3x plus 5. Okay, everything is sum here. So what is dy by dx? I am not writing this step. I am skipping this step because this is not the type of questions that will appear in the exam. Okay, you don't have to write this step at all. This is for you to understand. I have written. You will have to know how to solve this because it is going to be part of your solution. Okay, now I will directly write this step. Okay, this step I will directly write. Dy by dx is derivative of 4x cube. So 4 into 3 is 12, x power 1 less plus 9 into 2 is 18, x power 1 less plus 3 into x derivative is 3 and plus 5 constant. Its derivative is 0 and I am not writing it. So that's all is the answer for this given function by applying sum or difference rule. Okay. Now let us see how to solve questions with products. Suppose you have y is equal to x square minus 1 into x 3x plus 2. Okay, x square minus 1 into 3x plus 2. Here we have it in the form of product u into v, right? So what is derivative of dy by dx here? First function into differentiation of second function plus second function into differentiation of first function. So here I will write first function, which is x square minus 1 into derivative of second function. Again here I am writing this additional step so that you will understand. Our next problem we will solve it without writing this additional step. Dy by dx of 3x plus 2. First function I have written as it is. Derivative of second function plus, now second function you write it as it is, which is 3x plus 2 into derivative of first function. Now this first function is written as it is. Now derivative of 3x plus 2. What is derivative of 3x? 3 plus, what is derivative of constant? 0. So 3 plus 0 is going to be 3. I have written it. Now 3x plus 2 into derivative of x square minus 1. What is derivative of x square? There is no coefficient. So directly you write this power 2 into x power 1 less minus derivative of 1 is 0. So I am not writing it. Now you can multiply this and simplify to get your final answer. So you get 3x square minus 3 plus 2x into 3x is 6x square plus 4x. So your answer is 9x square plus 4x minus 3. So this is product rule. Now again we will write next question. We will solve our next question without writing this second step. Directly we will write this step. So let me take an example. Y is equal to x plus 2 into log x. X plus 2 into log x is the next example. So differentiation of log x is 1 by x. This is present in the list of standard formulas. Please refer your notes. Now derivative of y with respect to x, I will write directly. First function I will write it as it is, which is x plus 2. Second function, derivative of second function, derivative of log x is 1 by x, plus second function I will write as it is into derivative of first function. Derivative of x is 1 and derivative of 2 is 0. So you are going to get just log x. So what is the answer? X plus 2 by x plus log x. You can keep the answer like this, or you can further simplify and write it as log x. I will write first, plus x by x is 1 plus 2 by x is 2 by x. So this is another example for product rule. Hope it is clear. In case you have any doubts, please mention your whatever queries you have in the chat box so that I can reply. Next we will see quotient rule. Y is equal to, I will write 3x plus 1 divided by x minus 1. Okay, so this is a fraction wherein we have it in the form u by v, right? Here the question is of the form u by v. Now what is derivative of a fraction? We have to first write denominator square, then here you write the denominator into derivative of numerator minus numerator into derivative of denominator. Okay, now we will simplify this. X minus 1 into derivative of 3x plus 1 is 3. 3x derivative is 3, constant it is 0, minus 3x plus 1 into derivative of x minus 1 is 1 divided by x minus 1 whole square. So let us simplify this. This is going to be 3x minus 3 minus 3x minus 1, right? Yeah, divided by x minus 1 square. So 3x and minus 3x gets cancelled. So minus 3 minus 1 is minus 4. So the answer is minus 4 by x minus 1 whole square. This is your final answer. Now when we have a fraction like this, you need to know, every time you don't need quotient rule. This is one common confusion that most of the students have while applying quotient rule. So you should know when to apply quotient rule and when you shouldn't. See here I have written u by v, and what are this u and v? U and v both are functions of x. See, u is a function of x, v is also a function of x. Only when both numerator and denominator has this x, then you will have to use the quotient rule. Say for example, you have a question like this: y equals to 5 by x square minus 1. Okay, something like this, or I'll just take 5 by x square. Now here we will not apply quotient rule because numerator is not a function of x. Numerator is not a function of x. Numerator is just a constant. Understood? Here we will not use quotient rule. Instead, we are going to bring this denominator to the numerator by negating its power. So it is plus 2. When it comes to numerator, its power becomes minus 2. Okay, now the function is 5 into x power minus 2. Now we will find the derivative of this. There is a coefficient, so 5 into minus 2 is minus 10 into x power 1 less. So minus 2 is there, 1 less is minus 3. And now take this x cube to the denominator so that the power becomes positive. X power minus 3 becomes x power plus 3. Now this is your answer. Understood? Here we have not applied quotient rule because in numerator we don't have x. We have x only in the denominator. In such cases, bring this denominator to numerator. If it has a power, if denominator already has a power, if it's negative, it will become positive and vice versa. Here the power is positive, so I wrote it as negative. Okay. And suppose you have a question like this. Y is equal to x cube by 2. Okay, x cube by 2. Again here, though it looks like a fraction, you are not going to use the quotient rule. Why? Because denominator is not a function of x. Hope this is clear now. Denominator is not a function of x. So basically this is written as 1 by 2 into x power 3, where this 1 by 2 is going to become the coefficient of x cube. Now you know how to write dy by dx, right? Coefficient into power, that is 1 by 2 into 3 is 3 by 2 into x power 1 less. So x power is 3, 1 less is 2. This is going to be the answer, 3 by 2 x square. Again here we have not applied quotient rule. So remember, to apply quotient rule, both numerator and denominator should have the variable x. If only one of the numerator and denominator has x, then you are not applying quotient rule. You just bring it to the numerator and solve it like a normal function. This is about sum rule, difference rule, product rule and quotient rule. Please go through this again if you have not understood it clearly. Once you have understood this, these are basic questions. This type of questions will not appear in the exam because it is too simple. I have explained this so that you will understand how to do basic differentiation. So the next one is the chain rule. So what is chain rule is, suppose you have function of a function, that is composite functions. Right now you have function of a variable, y is equal to f of x, right? You have a function of a variable. Suppose you have function raised to some power, then you will be applying chain rule. That is, if u is a function of x and y is a function of u. Okay, if y is a function of u and u is a function of x, then differentiation of y with respect to x is dy by du into du by dx. Okay, this is called as the chain rule. So what does this mean is, say you have y is a function of u and then u is further function of x, and you know that since u is function of x, u is dependent on x. When you change x, u value will definitely get changed. Since u is getting changed, y will also get changed. So indirectly, when you are changing the value for this variable x, indirectly value of y is also changing. So this is a direct way of finding by how much y changes when x is changing. Okay, and for this you have to differentiate y with respect to u first and then differentiate u with respect to x. Multiply this, simplify, that is going to be the answer. Now what is the meaning of this chain rule, or what is this u equals to f of x is? I will give you an example. Suppose y is equal to x cube. We have a direct formula, right? X power n, derivative of x power n is n into x power n minus 1. Here I have x cube. So 3 into x power 3 minus 1. That way you can write. You can use the standard formula. Suppose instead of x cube, this is 3x square. Suppose instead of x cube, if you had log x whole cube, Instead of x cube, if you have log x whole cube, that is you have function that is cube function on logarithmic function. Okay, when you have function upon function, then to find dy by dx, we will first make assumption. Every time you don't have to make assumption. I am just telling you what is this u equals to f of x and y equals to f of u. But while solving, it is not mandatory to do it. Okay, so this is called as substitution method. Here I will write let u is equal to log x. So this equation becomes y is equal to u cube. Understood? Y is equal to u cube because u I have taken it as log x. Now since y is a function of u, so this means y is a function of u and here u is a function of x. Now I will differentiate y with respect to u. What is y? U cube. Derivative of u cube is 3u square. Okay, and I will differentiate u with respect to x. Okay, I will differentiate u with respect to x, and what is u? Log x. Differentiation of that with respect to x is 1 by x. Now we will combine these two, that is dy by dx is equal to dy by du into du by dx. dy by du is 3u square into du by dx is 1 by x. Now u was not given originally in the question. We have introduced the new variable u. Therefore, we need to simplify it also. So I will write 3 into u is log x. So 3 into log x whole square into 1 by x. This is going to be the answer for dy by dx. Now we can write it straight in one step itself. So to write that, I will not use this substitution. Directly I will write. For that you need to have enough practice. So if you are not able to write this, means your practice is not sufficient. So you have to start practicing more. Now say log x cube. Now how to solve this? Directly, without, basically we will apply chain rule only, but we are not writing multiple steps. So how to think of this is, think of the outermost function. Here it is of the form x cube, isn't it? If it was x cube, I would have written 3x square. Okay. Since it is not x now, instead of x, I have log x, right? So here I have log x. Since I have log x, in place of x I have written x here. Similarly, since I have log x, I have to write log x here as well. Hope this is clear. So the standard formula is x cube equals to 3x square. In the same place, in place of x I have log x. Similarly, in the answer also, in place of x I have to write log x. I cannot stop it here because it is not the standard formula. This is the answer for x. Since it is not standard, we have something else. We need to differentiate that also. In place of x, I had log x, right? So this log x I have to differentiate. So what is the derivative of log x? Derivative of log x is 1 by x. Okay, which is your answer. So we can get this answer directly in one step if you understand this chain rule. So this method of solving is very important. You have to practice so that you should be able to solve it this way, because when you have multiple levels of function, you cannot do too many substitutions. This is basically called as substitution method. Okay, this is called as substitution method. Here we are substituting something for u. Substitution method, which is lengthy. Right now it is okay, manageable, because you have only one level of substitution. I will show you one example, but I am not going to solve it because it involves too many steps. For such steps, for such lengthy questions where you have function of a function of a function, kind of composite functions, this direct method will help a lot. It is going, you are going to get the answer in just one step. But if the depends on the question, if your question is for 2 marks or 3 marks, you are supposed to write the detailed answer. If you are preparing for some entrance exams, then it will help a great deal in order to understand this straight one line method. Okay. I will show you just one example. If you don't understand this, it's completely fine, because you are supposed to use substitution method for solving your questions and get 2 marks or 3 marks. You have to use the detailed method. What if you have log of 3x plus 5 square? Okay, now the square is not for log, square is only for this. Okay, log of 3x plus 5 square. Here what is the outermost function? Log. Next outermost function is square. Then comes 3x plus 5. Here basically you have to take, let v equals to 3x plus 5. Okay, then y becomes log of v square. Okay, in place of 3x plus 5 I have written v, log of v square. Next, let u equals to v square, then y becomes log of u. Understood? Now what is y? It is a function of u. So now you can understand y is a function of u, because y is equal to log u. U is a function of v, because u equals to v square, and then v is a function of x, because v equals to 3x plus 5. What is given in the question? Log of 3x plus 5 whole square. You don't have u or v given in the question, therefore you have to differentiate y until x. So derivative of this is called as extended chain rule. Dy by dx is, first you have to differentiate y with respect to u, and then differentiate u with respect to v, then differentiate v with respect to x, which is a 3-step process. Okay, so we are not going to solve it this way. You can, but I'm not going to solve it this way. So if you solve it as it is, that is, if you solve it in a one line method, then what is the outermost function? Log, and derivative of log is 1 by x. So here whatever is there, log of something is there, right? Whatever is there, that you have to write it in the denominator. See, derivative of log x is 1 by x. Now in place of x I have something else, isn't it? So whatever is there here, that needs to be written here. So I will write 1 by, what is there? 3x plus 2, right? 3x plus 5. So 3x plus 5 whole square. Now here I did not have x, I had a function. So I need to differentiate that. So what was there in this place? 3x plus 5 whole square, right? Assuming this as x square, the answer is going to be 2 into x. If it was x square, the answer will be 2 into x. But in place of x, I have 3x plus 5. So the answer is going to be 2 into 3x plus 5. So into 2 into 3x plus 5. Now again, standard formula is for x, not for 3x plus 5. So this 3x plus 5 we need to differentiate again, which is 3. 3x plus 5, 3x derivative is 3, 5 derivative is 0 because it is a constant. So 3 plus 0 is 3. Now what is your final answer? This 3x plus 5 gets cancelled with one of the terms in the denominator. So you are going to get 2 into 3 is 6 divided by 3x plus 5, and this is your final answer. So this is called as extended chain rule. Extended chain rule. Now if this question is asked in the exam, you cannot use this straight one line method. This is a one line method. This method you can't use. You have to use this extended chain rule and then write each and everything like this: dy by du, du by dv, and then dy by dv, dv by du, then write du by dx, and then multiply all the three things and then simplify. That is how you are supposed to solve. So this covers basics of differentiation. So you have learned what is differentiation, what is the meaning of it, where it is applicable, basic rules of differentiation, chain rule of differentiation, and extended chain rule, means multiple levels of substitution you have done. So all this type of questions is covered now. Now next we will cover one more type of category. This is very important. This type of questions appears in the exam. Differentiation of parametric functions. We have differentiation of implicit functions, logarithmic functions and all that, which we will cover in the next class. So for exam, you will have differentiation of chain rule or differentiation of parametric functions for 2 marks, that is for sure. So what is this parametric function is, you will have a third parameter. See, so far you had only one function. You had something like y equals to f of x, and so far what you had learnt is, you had one function y equals to f of x and you differentiated y with respect to x. This is what you have learnt. In case that function is a complex function, if it is a composite function with difficult function of a function type of, then you have used substitution. But basically y was a function of x. You had only one function given in the question. Suppose you have both y and x are expressed in terms of a third parameter, that is, if y is a function of t and x is also another function of t, where t is a parameter. Okay, where t is a parameter. Example is that you can have distance as a function of time, and you can have speed also as a function of time. So suppose you have two quantities y and x, both are expressed in terms of a third parameter, then differentiation of such functions is called as parametric functions. In this, you are going to differentiate y and x both with in terms of t, and then you are going to combine them. So here, to find dy by dx, we first differentiate y with respect to t, and then we divide that by derivative of x with respect to t. So this is called as differentiation of parametric function. We can also call it as differentiation of one function with respect to another. The procedure is same, but we will learn it later. So what is parametric function? So it is a function where both y and x are dependent on a third parameter, and to differentiate the behavior of y with respect to x, we need to differentiate both the functions with respect to the common parameter, and then only we can solve. Okay, so that is called as parametric differentiation. So now let us solve one question of that type. I'm just taking a question for parametric differentiation. Just let me know if you have any doubts so far. In case you have any doubts, you can mention in the chat box. Okay, so we will take one simple example and then I will explain it with one more example. First example, if x is equal to a into t square, or I will take 3 into t square. Okay, if x is equal to 3 into t square and y is equal to 60, find dy by dx. Okay, so as soon as you see here, you know it is parametric, because all this while you had only one function. Y was expressed as a function of x. Now here you have two functions given. Y is expressed as a function of t, x is also expressed as a function of t. When you have two functions, when you have two separate functions given for y and x, both in terms of a third variable, then it is called as parametric differentiation. Now to differentiate this, first we will differentiate dy with respect to t. So differentiating y with respect to t, 6 into t, similar to k into x. If you have k into x, derivative is k, right? Similarly, if you have 6 into t, if you are differentiating with respect to t, then the answer is just the constant 6. So dy by dt is only 6, and we will find dx by dt. Dx by dt is similar to k into x square. If it was 3 into x square, the answer would have been 6x. Since it is 3 into t square, the answer is going to be 6t. Okay. Now, what is dy by dx? It is dy by dt divided by dx by dt, which is equal to 6 divided by 60, which is equal to 1 by t. Okay, hope this is clear. It's very simple question. Now let us solve a slightly different one. Let us solve a question with trigonometric functions. Okay, if x equals to a cos theta. If you have a, b, m, n, these are all considered to be constants, just like this coefficients 6, 3, 2, whatever you write it as it is. Similarly, you have to write y equals to a sin theta, find dy by dx. These might be a question under MCQs. Okay, these are very simple questions. It might come under MCQ. Now, here what is a parameter? Theta is a parameter. First, we will find dy by d theta. A is a constant. We have to write as it is. Now, derivative of sin theta is cos theta. Then, dx by d theta we have to find. Again, a is a constant into derivative of cos theta is minus sin theta. Now, what is dy by dx? dy by dx is dy by d theta, which is a cos theta, divided by minus a sin theta. A and a gets cancelled. You have minus sign here. Cos theta by sin theta is cot theta. So this is the answer for this parametric differentiation. These questions might come under an MCQ for 1 mark, or maximum you might get a 2 mark question of this type, and you might also get a question under 4 mark section for proving that dy by dx is equal to something. So here you will get slightly bigger functions which you might have to use chain rule, or you might have to use quotient rule or product rule to solve each and every function, both x as well as y, and then further simplify them and prove that the given dy by dx is equal to the given expression in the question. So usually that is going to be a 4 marker question. So let us solve a 4 mark question of this category. If x is equal to a into e power t into sin t plus cos t, sin t plus cos t, this is x, and y is equal to a into e power t into sin t minus cos t. Prove that dy by dx is equal to x plus y divided by x minus y. So this is a typical 4 mark question. We will see how to solve it. So as you know, you have two equations for x and y. Both are expressed in terms of a third variable t. So here t is a parameter. You need to differentiate y with respect to t, differentiate x with respect to t, then write dy by dt upon dx by dt to get your answer. So now let's take first x. So given x is equal to a into e power t into sin t plus cos t. So we differentiate on both the sides. So you are supposed to write these things in detail. The presentation of the answer is very important. So differentiate on both sides. with respect to t. So we get dx by dt is equal to, see this is in the product rule form, a into e power t is one function, sin t plus cos t is other function. So here first function is a into e power t, sin t plus cos t is your second function. Okay, so first function we will write it as it is into derivative of second function. So sin t derivative is cos t plus cos t derivative is minus sin t. Okay, plus second function we will write it as it is, sin t plus cos t into derivative of first function, which is a into e power t. A into e power t is a into e power t itself, because e power x derivative is e power x itself when we are differentiating with respect to x. Here we are differentiating with respect to t, which is going to remain same. Now observe what you are supposed to get. Okay, dy by dx, you are supposed to get x plus y and x minus y. So dx by dt should be somewhat of the form x minus y. Okay, so to do that, you see the questions that are present here. You basically have sin t plus cos t here. See, a into e power t, sin t plus cos t. This entire thing is nothing but your x, right? A into e power t into sin t plus cos t, it is nothing but x. Now a into e power t into sin t minus cos t is y. Here I have cos t minus sin t. So if I multiply a minus sign here and here, it is going to become positive. So I will write minus a into e power t. Basically I am taking minus common from this. So this becomes sin t minus cos t. And this is anyways we have written it as x. Now you see a into e power t into sin t minus cos t is nothing but y. So you are going to get minus y plus x. So that is dx by dt. So this is, we have differentiated x. Now let us differentiate y. Given y is equal to a into e power t into sin t minus cos t. Now we will differentiate this on both the sides. With respect to t, we get dy by dt is equal to first function, write it as it is, differentiate the second function, sin t derivative is cos t minus cos t derivative is minus sin t, so it becomes plus minus sin t plus sin t minus cos t, which is the second function, that is written as it is, into derivative of first function a into e power t is a into e power t itself. Now if you observe this first term, a into e power t into cos t plus sin t is same as x. Okay, this is same as x plus a into e power t into sin t minus cos t is same as y here, right? So it is y. Now we have both dy by dt and dx by dt. Just substitute and simplify. You will get the answer, required answer. So what is dy by dt? It is x plus y, and dx by dt is minus y plus x, which is nothing but x minus y. Hence proved. So this is a typical 4-mark question wherein they will give you the required answer. You will have to differentiate it and reduce it to the required form. So I think it's sufficient for the day. If you have any suggestions or feedback, you're always welcome. You can mention your feedback in the comment section. And if you want any specific topic immediately to be solved, you can mention that, so that in the next class we can address that. In the next class we are going to continue the differentiation chapter. After that, if you want whichever chapter you want, if you mention, we will do that first, and then we will cover the rest of the syllabus. So make sure you attend all the classes without fail, and make sure you make important notes and practice all the questions that we send in your WhatsApp group. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe and turn on the notifications also, so that whenever we post our important questions, we will be posting short videos, we will post all those things, you will get immediate notification. And whenever we announce live class also, you will get to know immediately, you will get a notification. Okay, so make sure that you have subscribed and turn on the notifications, and also share this video with all your classmates so that everybody can get benefited out of this. Thanks for attending the class, and let's meet in the next class. Until then, see you. Take care. Happy learning. Bye bye.